hello there, and I hope everybody's doing well today, or at least as well as you can be under the circumstances. This has been a long week for me. And I will admit it, maybe you could have guessed somewhat by the way I titled some of these things. I honestly didn't want to do this, and I kept procrastinating and doing things, and it's like, but I finally decided I was going to go ahead and do it anyway. So let me talk more about that with the quote before I get anywhere. So both of these quotes come from Arthur Ashe. Um, Let me say, do this, just eeny, meeny, miny, moe, which one am I going to do first? Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. That's the first one. The second one, success is a journey, not a destination. Some of you may have heard that, and I myself didn't recognize that came from Ash until I was looking at this a little closer. But anyway, let me go back to that again. Success is a journey, not a destination. The doing is often more important than the outcome. Um, for those of you who don't know who Arthur Ashe was, he was a tennis player, black tennis player, the first and only black male tennis player to win singles competitions at Wimbledon, the US Open, and the Australian Open. Now, granted, some of you don't pay any attention to tennis, and I don't really. I just happen to know that that's a big deal. But and he died in 1993 from pneumonia because of AIDS, and that's a long story. But anyway, but at one point in time, he was on the top of the tennis world. So he was talking about being successful in a time in which it was difficult for him to be successful because there were a lot of things going for him. Because at that particular point in his life, people didn't want blacks to be playing professional tennis, let alone go to Wimbledon or anything else like that. So when I think in terms of the fact that just because I have a bad week doesn't necessarily mean my week was like any worse than his ever was. Now, for me, just to share some of this, because my bad week is probably more closer to your bad week than Arthur Ashe's, because most of us are probably not professional tennis players. But it started Tuesday night when there was a storm and there was a big thunder clap someplace. I have no idea what it hit. It didn't hit me, but happened to notice that a lamp that was off was suddenly on. I've discovered that the only way I can now turn that lamp on and off is to plug it and unplug it out of the socket. I've lost my printer because the on-off switch doesn't work anymore. I have an atomic clock that runs on batteries. An atomic clock that has decided that it doesn't know what day it is. It wants to tell me that it's the 3rd of January. I actually had to set it. I tried to put it to the atomic things and put it in the sun and everything else like that. It wouldn't go back. I had to go back and just manually set the time, and it still doesn't know what day it is. But atomic clock? Somebody's going to have to know more about physics and electricity to explain that one to me. But anyway, then I'm giving a class the other night, and I hear some strange sounds, literally sitting here like at the computer, and I hear some strange sound, and back in that corner, discovered that the air conditioner, you can see by that red light, that's kind of like, where can I show? Point in the wrong direction. Trying to do this backwards, but it doesn't work anyway. And the air conditioner was dripping water on top of the same electrical outlet that the lamp was in. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, then I have to replace a complete entire toilet because it's not working well. The air conditioner, it's just one of those weeks. You get the idea. I'm sure all of you have been there at some point in time. Now, the one thing I have that some of you don't yet have is the fact that I'm old enough to realize that sooner or later this kind of thing does pass and things get better and it looks good. And then you sort of look at these kinds of situations in the rearview mirror and say, oh, yeah, it could have been better. It could have been worse. And I think that that's, in a sense, kind of what made me here today, along with these quotes, because it's the reminder that success is a journey, not a destination. If we want to get to wherever we want to go, whatever that may be, success in our own mind isn't necessarily making, trillions of dollars or anything else like that. It's basically being able to look back and say, okay, I did it. Because even as I sat here a couple of hours ago, knowing I didn't really want to do this, I also knew that I would feel really, really good once it was over. And so I recognized that dichotomy in me, and I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it and get it over with. So I want to let you know that, and maybe share with you that, granted, I'm considerably older than probably all of you, and I've been through several of these seasons before in my life. I can remember time being in a hurricane and having to trash my refrigerator just simply because I had been without power for 4 days. I survived that. I remember crying when I threw everything in the refrigerator, but these things happen. And if we just keep putting one foot in front of the other, we're going to get to wherever it was we want to go. Now, granted, sometimes it might be better to crawl into bed and just put the covers over your head and forget the rest of the world exists. I won't deny that. But I want you to think in terms that in many cases, just moving forward and doing something, even if you don't want to do it, is going to feel really good when it's over and done with. And you feel better about that later. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to make my whole week turn around, but it's a step in the right direction. And everything is not completely going downhill. So there are things that I am in control of and I can still do just the way you are in control of some things, even though it doesn't look like you can do it. And for reasons I have no idea. Well, yeah, I do know why. I'm thinking of Tina Turner. Some of you may not know who she is. Maybe you've heard about it. But she escaped an abusive husband when pretty much nothing to her name. But she managed to turn things around as well. Now, neither you nor I are probably going to be anywhere big and famous. Maybe you will. So send me something someday when you're big and famous, like Tina Turner. And you have to go ahead and just keep trying and doing in order to make anything come of it. If you just basically say, "This is a lousy day, everything's going bad, I'm not going to do anything because it's no worth it, not worth it, it's no good," and give up, nothing's ever going to work. So just keep going. Granted, this is not the most cheerful meshes I've ever done, but at least I'm giving myself credit for being here and doing it, even though I would rather be under the covers with my dog. The other part is it's a dismal, rainy, dreary day, and I keep looking out and hoping there's no thunder because I keep thinking if there's thunder, there's lightning, and is something else going to go wrong? But, one of those moods. So I hope you can, send me something and cheer me up. But anyway, this too shall pass, is all I can say. So hopefully, a couple of us can connect on the idea that we all have seasons in life in which things don't go well, but we can still turn around and keep going, even if it's a small step. Just do one little thing, just keep going, even if you don't want to do it, because it's going to feel better when it's over and done with than when you don't do anything at all. So if anybody can commiserate or have any comments, share them with me, and we'll hopefully see if I can get something more cheerful next week, because I've got a couple of ideas that I'd like to share with you, but it's just I'm not in the mood to be cheerful about it right at the moment. So let's just leave it at that. And I hope you all have a much better week than I do, with no electricity causing any electrical things in your place. And we will chat with you later. Valerie out. Bye.